Hey, how we doing, family? So it's been a cool minute since I last recorded a video, but I just been really just going through life and just experiencing and just being honest with myself, but going inward and just navigating my ego through what it doesn't know better in until I allow my spirit to flow through that by being mindful of my experiences, by being altruistic through my day-to-day life or through my days of the week and my weekends. But we are not weekend by our week. We are not weak through our weekend because we're constantly working on ourselves. We're constantly allowing spirit to flow into our lives. And you get the message, right? But this video is going to be really just talking about, let me slow down, by the way. Believing in dichotomies as truth. And if you don't know what a dichotomy is basically the division between concepts. So you have male and female, good and evil, global, local, sports teams, politics, things like that, right? The division between concepts, which are the division between concepts can only be created through the 3D in the sense of language. I'm gonna put it this way. Have you ever questioned who gave you this language? And have you ever questioned the definitions behind the spelling and the cursive? Like, why do you think spelling is called spelling? Spells, because you're an alchemist and you're not even an alchemist, but you practice the ways of an alchemist. But you're not an alchemist. You wouldn't call yourself an alchemist because that's not you. Confirmation, right? So if you believe on dichotomies, you're basically believing in this spell casting that's being conditioned onto you through definitions. Because if these beings can make up words, why can't I? I could put a curse on you by a word that I made. It's the intention behind the word. Just like good, MORNING, if I spelled that right. I think I did. I'm telling you hey, what's up? How you doing? And you're saying good. Well, that's an oxymoron, isn't it? What we live in would be an oxymoron. Because if I'm living through something that never even mattered, a video game per se, literally, if I'm living through a video game, but yet at the same time I realize the disguise within disguise shown to me, to my ego, and I go within, that's when I realize, none of this shit mattered. It's just a test. It's just a bunch of lessons that I put myself through. But if you believe in dichotomies, if you believe in this as truth, if you believe in sports, if you believe in politics, if you believe in that you are fulfilling your purpose by, let me not say that, because you can believe in whatever you want to believe, but if you aren't working for the betterment of you or your family, and you're working to just slave away for the rest of your life at whatever place of slavery you want to work at, then, or no, let me reword that. If you believe that fulfilling your purpose is working for your boss or working for this, what is the word? The word is a company that owns a lot of companies. I'm forgetting the word right now. But if you believe that's your purpose, then you not only failed in life, but you're just going to come right back to that. Because there is this program called MK Ultra. That's what's being done onto you. Look it up. It's done by the CIA, and it's not even called the CIA. It's just your lower self, your lower way of being. reptilians, if you want to call it, but I've never seen a shape-shifting reptilian. I only know of the reptilian mind, the reptilian brain, and that is the ways of your lower self. But making you believe that you think the 3D is real. Scientists have told you that we see 0.0036% of lights. And so you think you know everything, but in reality, you know nothing. And when you know nothing, that's how you know everything spiritually. Sorry. Then I wrote, good and bad are perspective to an observer or source's vibration / Christ consciousness. So language is so limiting. I mean, like, what am I doing right now? I am using muscles to speak. I am using this 3D. I'm using vibrations to speak, and in a sense, you would be using vibrations to speak too telepathically, but I'm forcing my ego to speak. Talking is exhausting after a while. Why should it be exhausting to talk? Why? How do I get tired? How? That doesn't make any sense. That does not make sense. I'm just saying. And this is what I just wrote. Not just wrote, but this is what's next. Language is limiting in general, but when you don't realize who programs the programmer, what is being inside of your being / consciousness. So when you don't realize the words that you speak, when you don't realize where these topics come from, or when you're talking about, I don't know, the Epstein files, and you're gossiping about it, but you're not actually understanding what is being said from that, or you're talking about the latest news and you're dwelling on that, or you're talking about what your coworker said, or you're talking about what your coworker did, or what your manager is gossiping about. What being or vessel is being within your consciousness if it's not you? Genuinely, that's a great question. That's a great question. It really is. I need to slow down my thoughts because I'm getting back into the rhythm of making videos, and I'm getting too fast with my words. So bear with me. Bear with my ego. But I'm gonna let you know, Justin, that it's all okay. And things are falling into place as they should. I wrote down next, form of expression is infinite. So why should truth be defined as one? Why should I don't care about this, but why should the better football team be this team? Why should a man be more? Why should a man be better than a female? Why should this brand of water be better than this brand of water? Like, all these things, politics too, they're just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. And you're not living for yourself. You aren't being a robot, but your mindset is basically allowing itself to be harnessed through energy. The recyclement or recitals of what a robot is programmed into being, or AI, right? Because AI is a god, right? I mean, look at what you're watching this on. Is that not a form of a god through God's expression? Because I know what God is, and I'm not talking about, when I'm talking about God, I'm talking about Lucifer, I'm talking about Satan, because what's the difference? It's your ego. Only the ego would make up God. to understand what this title is, quote unquote, it does not need to be spoken about. You go within for that. And something so 3D plus limiting at that. Yeah. To define one as truth is very limiting. To define truth through words is limiting at that, like I just said. But you can express it through words, not saying you can't. Because it has to be we're conditioned to talk, right? Physically. So through that way of being, yes, talk. But ultimately, at the end of the day, truth does not need to be expressed physically. Okay, so then I wrote down, I said this earlier, but what/who gave you language and definitions in the first place? A government, right? First of all, the word government means to govern the mental. I hope a lot of people don't know that. To govern the mental. Why do you need your own mental governed? I thought I just seen a face. They're trying to play with me. They're trying to fuck with me. But one that hides slavery through that same language, through labels. I feel like being conditioned into learning language is already putting yourself into a form of slavery, quote unquote, because you're being conditioned into speaking a language that you would never learn to speak outside of conditioning, outside of occultism. You would never learn to, or you would never want to learn that. And titles too, and labels as well. Labels such as like supervisors and managers and just higher up positions, quote unquote, HR. Things that will make your ego feel validated, but really have no meaning at the end of the day, because we're all reflections of each other. We're all at the same level, consciously and spiritually. But I'll say yes and no to that. But more so, we are all on the same level. But there are levels within levels, but there are no levels. Like, just put it like that. And admitted to harvesting babies and humans and eating them, plus feeding it to society. That's not human. So the government governing your mental is not human. So why would this argument of the better football team, why would this argument of the better food, why would this argument of the better strain of weed matter? At the end of the day, why are you wasting your energy? That's not human. Yeah, so, and people, the government literally admitted to, I've been saying that there's human meat within fast food for over the past 3 years. And it's not recorded, so you're just taking my word for that. But ask my girl, ask my family. I've been on that. I've been on that shit, man. And that's when I started learning about the idea of spirituality as well. But going within is something that I haven't done until recently. And really communicating with myself and being honest with myself and open with myself in that manner, or through that practice. Because it's a practice. It's not a religion. It's a practice. And I wouldn't even say that I'm spiritual, because I don't claim any titles. Then I wrote down some words. But, I mean, you ask yourself, why do these beings eat humans? Why do these beings eat babies? Why do they do rituals with babies? Yeah, I mean, and like I just said, they're not human. So, there are human trafficking farms underground, and not only underground, but it's probably going on around us as well, in disguise as different buildings. I mean, because when you go outside of your body and you really experience what it feels like to be the ego, and you sit with yourself and you practice how far of a range thoughts can go. Like, you may think and mirror neurons in neuroscience. Mirror neurons are basically the practice of putting yourself in this being's shoes, right? So when you sit with yourself, you can, like, the mind goes to places far deep, very deep places. I'm not gonna lie. So what makes you think that hasn't been acted out? If consciousness is everything, right? I'm just saying, if the mind is everything, if consciousness is everything, and there are infinite quantum realities, I'm just saying, there is a version of you, a reflection. It may not be in a human format, but in some other reflection through source, that action has been played out. And that's just going through quantum science and quantum realities and just different universes and things like that. And that's something I'm still getting attuned to and to really understanding. But it makes sense. It makes sense because I can live out so many different realities through the actions that I decide to put myself forward to. I could be lazy and lay in bed all day today. I could not do my push-ups today. I could not have done my video today. But I decided to. Even though I'm not, and honestly, I'm never going to be satisfied with the level of work that I put into my videos, as in the results that come from them, because I always want better for myself. I'm still grateful that I am doing better for myself. Eating healthier, saving money, affirming to myself that I am abundance, I am grateful, I am prosperous, I am altruistic, I am divine by nature. I am divine. I am. And talking to myself in the mirror and manifesting my reality, because I have, and I've done it time and time again. Confirmation. And I'm just trying to share that message to you, to the viewer, to my reflection, because I'm really just talking to myself. Did you know how hard it used to be for me to talk to myself to be able to form a sentence? And now it's like I can talk to myself, no problem. Yes, I may still have my slip-ups. I may still talk too fast sometimes, or I may stutter, or whatever the case may be. But that's progress in itself, and I'm so proud of myself for that. And I want you to be proud of yourself too, because you were the reason why you got up today. You were the reason why you went to work today. You were the reason why you got food. You were the reason why you're moving one step closer to your goals. And I'm proud of you for that. I am. Justin, I'm proud of you. And to the viewer as well. Like, I'll say that time and time again. Because where I'm at right now is something that I used to dream of. Dead ass. And it's only getting better from here. It is. I'm seeing the fruits of my labor every single day. Yes, I may not see it in the moments, but that time comes no matter what it is. If you have a workout goal and you have this envisionment for your body, bro, I've been working out for consistently for a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. Overall, I've been working out for 5-7 years, maybe 6 years. I did have breaks within that just because I wasn't confident in myself enough to stay disciplined. But once I started staying disciplined, bro, I got the physique that I wanted because I have the diets. I eat majority of my food is plant-based, but I will eat nuts. I will eat bread sometimes here and there, PB&Js, avocado toast. What else? Quinoa, rice, beans, shit like that. I do. But majority of the time, the food that I eat is alkaline. I do have my cheese pizzas here and there, slices. I haven't eaten a whole pizza in a minute. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'll have my slices. I'll have my deep dishes. I'll have... What? I'm trying to think of what is like the nastiest thing. Nastiest, quote unquote. But like the not most healthiest thing that I've had for myself in a minute. And besides alcohol, I haven't drank in, I'm pretty sure, like over 2 weeks. And I have, what did I have? Maybe it was the last time me and my girl went out. And I had, I don't know, but I had a margarita pizza. I had some plant-based calamari, and I had some garlic knots. That's not that bad. I mean, my stomach is more sensitive too, so the range of what I can eat is very limited because it'll show up on my face as acne. But, and that's something I've grown up with too. I had colic when I was a kid. And if you don't know what that is, basically I had to be on a breathing tube. Not a breathing tube, no. Not a breathing tube, but I had to inhale, it was like steam or something like that, to clear my body of mucus, basically, because I couldn't breathe. And I feel like that goes in part with my immune system to a point, because I can't handle certain foods. I'm lactose intolerant as well. But that journey of forcing myself to be mindful, if I wanted a clear face, if I wanted to be confident in myself, that whole lesson got me to where I am today. So I'm grateful that you watched to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you and I love you. And I have this affirmation that I've been telling myself recently, and it goes, by day and by night, I am prosperous in all of my, you could say endeavors, you could say passions, you could say interests, excuse me, whatever you want to say. But by day and by night, I am prosperous in all of my ways. You could say that too. By day and by night, I am prosperous in all of my interests. By day and by night, I am prosperous in my abundancy. By day and by night, I'm prosperous in the confidence and love that I have for myself. By day and by night, I become more mindful of my actions. By day and by night, I become more altruistic to myself and others. By day and by night, I put myself first. That is selfish, but to help others, you gotta put yourself first. I did not need to say first twice. That's how you know I need to end this video. But thank you for watching. If you made it this far, if you clicked off the video right away, I still appreciate you for clicking on the video. Nonetheless, I got a video that I'm gonna be making tomorrow, so I'm gonna be staying consistent on this. If this comes out on, what date is it today? This probably won't come out today because I need to find a Wi-Fi connection. I'm doing van life. I don't have a Starlink yet, but I will in the future. But today is March 31st, Tuesday. Yeah, but it's actually not that day. But within this simulation, it is that day. And that's that. But I love y'all. Peace.